everyone. How you doing? It's Joe and Darren over at Urban Hillsides Real Estate with Real Estate Reality. This is a pre-recorded version of what we normally do Thursday at 2. But yeah, schedules got booked. So here we are. Thanks for joining us today. Darren, how are you out there, man?
Doing great. Doing great.
Yeah.
Suffering through the heat, man, which is not my favorite thing. But
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm looking at my dogs over here, and they're looking pretty dried out, and I didn't put on the AC, so I might be sore.
oh, wow. Time to slow down a little bit, man. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking this morning. You know, people in really hot climates, they just move a little slower, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I know you're going off to the mountains this weekend, so have you looked at the temperature? I know you're very sensitive about
It's
temperature.
the same. It's just as hot. Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's up.
All right, well, look, guys, we're going to do the usual. We're going to do seller wins, buyer wins from the last 7 days. We're going to have a topic. The topic today is the phrase housing recession, and what does that really mean? And then we're going to do our mortgage rate watch. And introduce something else called the Fear and Greed Index. So we've got a lot to do today. So I guess, Darren, let me start with my disclaimer. Darren Hubert and Joe Cloninger are real estate agents at Avenue 8 under the Urban Hillsides brand. All opinions expressed by Urban Hillsides or guests on this video are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Avenue 8. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Urban Hillsides as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of Urban Hillsides team's opinions. This video is for informational purposes only. There we go. All right. All right, well, I will go ahead and pull up the mortgage watch. Let's see here. All right. So this comes from Mortgage Daily News, or Mortgage News Daily, rather. So, wow, man, look at that graph. It's hitting a high, it looks like.
Yeah, it's moving north.
Right.
It was north previously. It came back down, and it's been moving back up. So
6.23 is what I'm seeing, and then the last time we were in that neighborhood, it was June 13th. No, June. What is that? No, 6.28. There it is, 6.28, June 14th.
Got it.
So yeah, it's definitely kicked up. And then as we look down over the last couple of days, up.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Well, it is what it is. Anything else to this, Darren?
You know, it's that whole. It's still historically a good rate, but it's just not what it was. You know,
Yeah.
months ago.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's not the 20% of the 80s or whatever
Correct.
it was.
And you know, in moments like this, people start evaluating other options. Is a 5-year make sense? Does a 10-year make sense? 10-year
Right.
fixed, 5-year fixed. So just be aware of those options if you get into escrow at this point.
Yeah. And, you're not alone here, right? Speak with your lender. I'm sure they've got a number of ways to approach this. They'll figure it out. Okay, next, we're going to go to CNN's Fear and Greed Index. I thought this was interesting. Kind of more about the emotional side of where we all feel about the economy and the market. Obviously, the stock market hasn't been doing that well. But here we are, Fear and Greed Index. We are now at 43, and 100 being extreme greed. So this is based a lot around the stock market and the price of stocks. So fear is stocks are pushing down, whereas greed, we're going up in terms of stock prices. So really interesting. We've got previous close. See, it was neutral. So we just moved into this fear part. And then a week ago, it was greed. Wow. And 1 month ago, it was greed. A year ago, it was fear. So very interesting. And then it breaks it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I like that they're tying this. I don't know how long this has been around. I think it's fantastic that you found it. They're tying this to an element that usually you want to disassociate with money moving. up or down, but it is a very emotional process. Completely the case, and I love that they're identifying it as an emotion.
Yeah.
And there's usually some stats behind it that trigger that, but in the end, it's an emotion that creates the movement. It's a great chart.
Yeah, I thought this was a good, and then it also has a timeline, so you can see over time what this has been like.
Nice.
We'll look at this more because there's a lot on stock price strength, stock price breadth, all sorts of cool stuff. But I thought this was a good segue into talking about the term housing recession. Let me pull that up. Let's see here. So this comes from Inman, an industry site for real estate agents and brokers. And here, let me pull it up here. And Darren, if you hear any growling, it's my Chihuahua terrorizing my elderly Shih Tzu, so don't mind that. Okay, so here we are, inman.com, and I will put this on our comments. Let's see here. For the future, let's see. Oh, I thought I was. Hold on. Comments. I don't see it. Well, anyway, markets and economy. What does housing recession even mean? Economists don't really know. The phrase housing recession has exploded in popularity, according to an analysis of search terms. But pinning down what it means and where it originated is surprisingly difficult. The U.S. has entered a, quote, housing recession, CNBC declared last week. The very same day, U.S. News and World Report announced that the housing recession was in fact deepening. Market Watch, The Hill, and a bunch of local news stations have offered their own takes as well, all of them arguing that a housing recession has begun. Suddenly, it seems the idea of a housing recession is everywhere. But while the idea of a recession in general is commonly understood, the notion that a recession could apply to just one sector, such as housing, is a significantly more novel idea and one that few people were talking about up until very recently. So Inman wanted to know, what is a housing recession? Is this a technical term? And are we, in fact, in a housing recession right now? Inman spoke to a handful of economists to get answers. The takeaway from these conversations is that the term is only loosely defined. Moreover, while it's clear the market is shifting and a downturn is unfolding, there are also some indicators of economic strength. And as a result, there's still a debate about the applicability of the word recession to what's happening in real estate right now. So here's what you need to know. When did this term become a thing? The economists who spoke to Inman for this story all said that the phrase housing recession appears to be a recent addition to the lexicon. No one had a specific date for when it might have arisen, but also no one recalled hearing anyone talk about a housing recession in the distant past. George Ratu, a senior economist at Realtor.com, speculated that the term's popularity right now is at least in part due to analysts latching on to a buzzy phrase and idea. Historically, he added, I have not seen the term housing recession used. Google seems to confirm the sudden popularity of the phrase. Though there appear to have been a few isolated uses of housing recession over the last 5 years, it wasn't until this summer that the term really saw any widespread online popularity. So yeah, you see that spike right there under Google Trends. Yeah, new phrase, new word, new concept. And this is a 5-year view. A Google search for the exact phrase housing recession prior to 2022 also produces few results, though there are numerous articles and reports discussing the relationship between housing and recessions generally. There are only a tiny handful of articles, such as this 2010 piece from Forbes, that seems to posit the idea that housing as a sector can be in a recession of its own. On the other hand, there are at least dozens of articles from this year, many published in just the last few weeks, that describe a housing recession. The surge in the term's popularity is no doubt the result of many factors, but an August report from National Association of Home Builders appears to have played a particularly significant role in pushing the idea of a housing recession into the mainstream. The report noted that home builder confidence was underwater and declared that tighter monetary policy from the Federal Reserve and persistently elevated construction costs have brought on a housing recession. That report has gone on to earn numerous citations in the press, which partially helps explain the spike on the Google Trends graph above. So what is a housing recession? One of the challenges with all this talk of a housing recession is that as a relatively new term, there's not exactly a specific definition for what it means. And in fact, the economists who spoke to Inman for the story said that the term is not a technical phrase in their field. It has no rigid, rigorously defined parameters. That contrasts with the idea of a more general recession. Though there are debates about what counts as a recession, economists have in the past worked out specific definitions, such as 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. The term housing recession doesn't have such a tidy parameters. Still, the experts using the term are generally referring to specific things. Lawrence Yun, chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, NAR, was recently quoted as saying the U.S. is in a housing recession. Asked what the term specifically means, Yun indicated that he is drawing on a wide range of metrics to make his assessment. There's a housing recession in terms of fewer home sales, lower housing starts, and declining mortgage lending, especially the collapse in mortgage refinance, Yoon said in an email, adding that there have been also job cuts in the home building sector. Jeff Tucker, senior economist at Zillow, described the idea of a housing recession as a bit of a terminological innovation and one that seems to have recently gained traction. And he said that if he were pinning down an exact definition, he'd look for trends in the housing market matching conditions that count as a recession in the broader economy. What this term must be describing is a slowdown in economic activity in the housing sector that's sort of broad-based and deep enough to register, and lasting more than a few months, Tucker said. In other words, a working definition for a housing recession might be this: a downturn that's measurable by multiple metrics, the starts, lending, and sales that you pointed to, among other things, and which is both deep and at least somewhat long-lasting. It's a downturn, but more pronounced. That may still sound vague, but the term is still new enough that it's hard to get a lot more specific. Various economists also urged caution when using the housing recession terminology. Tucker stressed this point, noting that it would be easy for people to misconstrue what is actually going on because they have a preconceived idea of what a recession is in general. For example, he suggested some people might interpret a housing recession as a broader economic downturn that was triggered by the housing sector, a la what took place in 2008. But that is decidedly not what is happening right now. I don't see any evidence that anything like that is underway. Daryl Fairweather, Redfin's chief economist, similarly urged caution and noted that the word recession typically carries a negative connotation, which may not quite capture what is happening right now. A recession implies that there's something fundamentally wrong that happened. But I don't think there is something fundamentally wrong that happened. It was just a natural reaction to lower rates and then higher rates. Are we actually in a housing recession now? Because there's no fixed or universal definition for the term, the economists who spoke with Inman were hesitant to give a simple yes or no response when asked if the U.S. is currently in a housing recession. All of them agreed that there has been a marked downturn in the housing industry, but in some cases preferred other less dramatic terminology. I would call it a housing hangover, Retu offered, arguing that the current landscape is a response to unusually heady times. We're sobering up after an unusual 2-year period in which we saw massive monetary and fiscal stimulus. Retu went on to note that growth in the housing sector is moderating, but that prices have not collapsed and in some cases are continuing to rise by double-digit percentages. That doesn't mean the housing market isn't also sluggish in many respects, but Retu noted that the housing market is not currently in free fall, which is what some people might understand when hearing the word recession. I think, if anything, looking at the current market, we're simply trying to return to the long-term trajectory, sort of pre-pandemic, which was a really good place to be. The return to the pre-pandemic state in itself simply means we're moving toward a more balanced and healthier market. Gosh, this goes on. Fairweather made a similar point, saying that while calling the current situation a housing recession might help people understand what's happening, she prefers to call the current situation a cool down. It's definitely a large cool down, she added. It really is cutting into the home buying demand. It's also meant to pull back from sellers as they don't want to accept those lower prices. Part of this is just a hangover from earlier in the year when it was so hot and really unsustainable. So you get the gist of it. It concludes with, so the answer to the question, are we in a housing recession, is in the end complicated. But some measures, yes. Others, perhaps not. What is clear, though, is that the term itself appears to be gaining a foothold and may be here to stay. It's very likely, Retu said, that from 2022 onward, it might become a common term. So, like I was telling you, Darren, this is a lot of what we've been talking about. It's nice to see it reflected here. Again, the hype of media and really what's going on and the perceptions of consumers. And is it checked? It's not. That's what I can see here.
Right. Well, there couldn't be a more appropriate article, Joe. I'm glad you found this. I'm glad we're talking about it because I agree. My thought was the word I came up with after reading that because Mr. Yoon from NAR identifies the components of what he's calling a recession very specifically and succinctly, and I agree with all of those dynamics. And in the end, to me, it's not a recession; it's a slowdown. And then that other woman used the term "cool down." Very appropriate. The underlying elements of the housing market are slowing dramatically. That's all it is. That's really all it is. But I think the word recession has a lot of misconceptions and is being used by the media to fuel, more stark reactions to articles and get attention in the long run because it's not clear. Somebody and in the day of reading headlines, more often than not, we're sitting here talking about, this is our industry. Gosh, this article's so long; it's taking like 3-4 minutes to read it. I mean, it's us even sitting here talking about that. So, that term recession, I think this needs to be pointed out more often than not for those who are out there in the industry, buy or sell side, what that means. It means just a slowdown of the underlying and a growth slowdown, but it's still a strong market. We keep saying that, but people keep reading all these articles that say housing recession. It is. It's like exploded in the last couple of weeks. So cool. Great article.
All right. So, guys, we'll continue to go through that fear and greed index and, again, hopefully get a balanced view of what's really happening at this time. All right. So we are off to solds and our top picks from the last 7 days, what we call seller wins and what we call buyer wins. Darren, let me pull up, let's see, before I get into the MLS, let me pull up our little spreadsheet here. Let's see. Okay. There it is. Okay. So let me put this together. Okay. So this is what was it? A total number of 17 solds in the last 7 days, I think. It was 14 the week before, so not a huge movement there. But what are some of these numbers telling you, man? What did you think?
As far as volume and movement there,
for me, I was just looking at the prices. It seemed, that middle section has actually grown a bit.
Right, and we've been showing this chart lately, and yes, that's correct. And the middle section growing is a more healthy, balanced market. Smaller on top, smaller. You're always going to have things on the high end and the low end, which are your highlighted areas. For a long time, recently we haven't seen much at all on the low end. Right. But we're seeing some of that. 4 and 4. This is as balanced as it's been. So it's good. I think it's healthy. Cool.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and get started on the first one. Let's see here. We're going to go to, let me get in here. All right. So we're off to 6176 Mount Angeles. And I know one of our clients was interested in this one. So it listed at $1,149,000, sold price $1,537,000, and that was an increase of $388,000. So prices are still strong. In particular, Darren, this week, a lot of Highland Park and Eagle Rock is what I noticed.
Got it.
So let's take a look here. I think this was called Balinese Mid-Century. So let's take in the photos. 6176 Mount Angeles Drive. This is Highland Park. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,431 square feet of living space. It's on a 3,400 square foot lot on a hillside. 1,537,000. This took 15 days on the market. And let's see, this is brought to us by Deirdre Solomon. And on the buy side, Angela Golan. So it caught our client's eye.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's presents well. It's the house, the structure, the flow, the finishes, the condition overall.
You know what I noticed? Even down to the landscaping, it has that tropical effect. So
Yeah.
they were very,
Yeah.
very purposeful in what they did. So.
Yeah, shows really well. A true example of cohesive presentation that maximized the return.
Okay, the next one is 6637 Pollard Street. Let's take a look at that. This started at $1,199,000 and finished at $1,431,000 for a $232,000 increase. Let's see here. Okay. 6637 Pollard Street. This is Highland Park. Again, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,433 square feet of living space. It's on a 6,700 square foot lot. 1,431,000. It took, let's see, 10 days on the market. And this is brought to us by Melanie Lewis and Tira Franco. And on the buy side, agents John Podhor and Katie Crane. You know, the only thing I got out of this was it had some, as usual, bonus space.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
Right?
What we just looked at was emotionally fantastic,
Yeah,
and personally, this one is less fantastic.
yeah,
And it's a series of small spaces, 4
Yeah.
bedrooms and 1,400 square feet.
Right.
It's quite small.
yeah. You kind of saw it immediately in the living room, like it was.
Yeah,
right
100%. So
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised at
Yeah.
this one, and it's in the flatlands, and as you know, I'm good. I think this is a true seller win in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this dining room was pretty interesting. That was unique, but that was about it.
Yeah, I get that part. Sure.
Okay. Next, we move on to let's see here. 2551 Hyler Avenue. This was $899,000. Went to $1,070,000 for a $171,000 increase. Let's take a look. Okay. 2551 Hyler Avenue. This is Eagle Rock, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 875 square feet, $1,070,000. It's on a 5,375 square foot lot, and this took, let's see, 29 days on the market. And this is brought to us by, I believe, Bobby Rodriguez. Here, Robert
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
Nice.
And yeah, on the buy side, Edward Dolce.
Well, this house checks a lot of boxes.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
super clean, and it's important on a small house to be clean, all white, fewer distractions
Yep.
are really important.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot. I mean, it's got very nice curb appeal.
Yeah.
Huge arching window in the living room. It's got solar.
Yeah.
Put some little energy into the landscaping. The interior finishes are nice. So it just looks like a great house.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, as you're saying, for the 875 square feet that it is, it's used well. It doesn't have a huge backyard. I think it's a hillside that goes straight up, but they've got that beautiful deck. They've got it looks like a side deck as well off the kitchen. There it is.
Really nice job on that front deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for 875, I actually think it's it was a good price.
Yes.
All right, next we are going to go to 3243 Terzilla Place. I don't know if I've ever been on that street. Let's see. 1,089,000 list, sold 1,225,000 for a $136,000 increase. Darren, this made me chuckle because we have a house. It's kind of similar, at least in color. We have an eggplant colored duplex, and here we've got a lavender single family. 3243 Terzilla Place. This is Glassell Park, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,880 square feet of living space. It's on a 6,000 square foot lot. It sold for $1,225,000. Days on market 6, and let's see. This is brought to us by Gina Isaac on the seller side, and on the buy side, Mindy Ray and Tracy Doe. So congrats to all.
Yeah, this house has some very nice potential. I don't know if the basement square footage is included. It's got curb appeal that a little more landscaping would really make it pop better, and some funkiness on a back patio. But the flow and it's got the foundational elements are really good, and the inside looks really clean with all the natural wood trim. And I think the buyer got a good deal on this.
Yep. You know what surprised me, and I know we're always dealing with this with every new listing, but staging was a little weird here.
It was. Sure.
I don't know if that was meant as a plus or a minus. I kind of felt it was more of a minus, only because the pieces were small. So they didn't really give you a good sense of scale, if that was the purpose of it. And then they weren't really like grouped together in any sort of like logical living way. It was just kind of, here's a stool, it was weird.
Right.
Very strange. Okay, next we go to buyer wins. So we go first to 6012 Crestwood Way. And this is in Highland Park again. It started at a reasonable $874,999 and landed at $865,000 for a $9,999 reduction. There was a client of ours that was interested in this, but I forget what it was. I think it was too far from the main house that he needed to get to. Let's take a look. So 6012 Crestwood Way, this is Highland Park. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,110 square feet of living space. It's on a 7,500 square foot lot. It sold for $865,000 and days on market 8. And this was brought to us by, what's his name? Let's see. Patrick Geglin. And on the buy side, Joshua Stein, Sapir, and Brad Keys. Great deal for somebody.
It's very basic. Maybe not popular colors.
Basic. That's a good way to put
it. I think great potential.
Yeah,
for sure, and it's a good price.
Yeah, I think one of the things on this one was not much backyard. It was a little odd with the driveway going down, and not much play space there for the girls.
A lot of front yard. Yeah.
But 865 Highland Park. That's good. That's awesome. Okay, next one is we go to 339 Levita Terrace. This started at $1,090,000 and landed at $1,070,000 for a $20,000 reduction. It's coming. There it is. Oh, this one. Pancho Villa's house. Do you remember this one? We kind of talked about this.
No.
I think one of our clients was interested in this. I think it was Love.
I remember now.
339 Levita Terrace. This is Echo Park. I guess South Echo Park?
Yes.
5 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2,372 square feet of living space. And it's on a 4,800 square foot lot, sold for $1,070,000, and 61 days on the market. And this was brought to us by Kyle Leibovich. And on the buy side, Kyle Leibovich and Nandu Hines. And on the buyer side, Lisa Paperno. So, yeah, what do you think, man? Good deal? Bad deal? I don't know.
Gosh, it's a large space.
Right? Yeah.
Victorian style home. Looks like row housing almost, the way they've photographed it. Yeah, in the end, $1,070,000 for that square footage, that
Right.
proximity to downtown.
Right? That's fine.
Yeah, and
There's no
and
parking. There's no parking. There's no garage.
That was
one of them.
that was the key. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always hard. No parking. So maybe that's the investment is you carve out more of that front yard and try to put a garage in.
Yeah.
Put a rooftop deck in front of it. If there's room. That would be the key.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you get a downtown view. You get a pretty large house. There's some things to kind of deconstruct here and kind of refigure. But Pancho Villa lived well. That's good. All right. Okay, next is Cazador. So, Darren, you have some experience with this one. 3423 Cazador Street, 800,000 was the list, and it went to 756,000 for a 44,000 decrease in its final price. Let's see. Let's take a look. So 3423 Cazador Street. This is Glassell Park. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 536 square feet of living space. $756,000 sold price. This was on a 6,500 square foot lot, and see, it took a while, 185 days to sell, or get in contract at least. And this was brought to us by John Winther and let's see who else here. Jonathan Dintzer, and on the buy side, Incy Ecker. What a name. So what did you think of this? Was there some bonus space in here that's not reflected in that 536?
Oh, I imagine people got tired of waiting for this. It just went on forever.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it was not the agent's fault. They were dealing with some probate issues. This house had to be a cash purchase.
Oh, right.
It was deconstructed. They connected spaces. They were not done to code for sure.
Right.
So it's a complete remodel. When we were looking at it originally, our client was excited and ready to go.
Yeah.
But just waiting that long is brutal. And there was no guarantee it was ever actually coming.
Right.
Agent kept talking about it like they were going to $1 million. I guess a lot of that petered away.
Right.
So.
But definitely some good potential there. I know
There is
she's
good
excited
potential.
about it.
I think they'll do well on the remodel, and it'll be a great house. It's a good location.
Yeah, right. It could double with the right decisions, right?
Oh, if they add a lot of square footage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Next one is finally 1970 Addison Way. And this started at $1,149,995, and final price $1,100,000 for an almost $50,000 reduction. I was trying to figure this one out, and maybe you can figure this out with me. So, 1970 Addison Way. This is Eagle Rock, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,296 square feet. Living space, it's on a 6,500 square foot lot, 1,100,000, and let's see, 19 days on the market. And sellers agents are Brad Keys, Joshua Stein Sapir, and Annie Keys. And on the buy side, we have Alyssa Van Breen, John Groman, and Adam Rosenfeld. Not their usual neck of the woods, but congrats to them.
Oh, those guys are, they're mass marketers, cold callers, so they'll go anywhere. but yes, not their primary location. So there's a how should I say? It doesn't fit into the traditional presentation we see in
Okay.
Northeast. But the
Okay.
more artistic leaning, aware people, I think
Right.
someone was very expressive in this house.
Right. House by color.
By color, for sure.
Right.
But there wasn't a cohesive design to it. So
Yeah.
it becomes a bit of a distraction because it has good curb appeal. It
Yeah. Street's
it's in
fine.
it's in a
not
good
horrible street.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you know, uh, it's just could present better in my opinion. It probably would have
Yep.
sold better. So
Yep.
so good
As
for
you're
the
saying,
buyer.
it might have been like what we typically see, like a series of decisions over 20 years, all of a sudden gets put into a microscope, and I made that decision and that one, and yeah, it's not cohesive. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, great. That is it for seller wins and buyer wins. We now, let's see here. We'll move on to our actives. Let's see here. Let me just move on to new listings. Okay, so these are new listings in the last 7 days, and with Darren's encyclopedic knowledge and map in his brain of Northeast LA, what do you got out there, man?
Well, let's do 943 Venango.
How do I spell that? V.
Venango.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay.
This zip code is always on our radar, but it's a very interesting pocket, a transition between Silver Lake and Hollywood.
Okay, bear with me. Damn browser usually quits on me around this time. Let's see. Too many pictures, can't handle it. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Clear browsing. All right. Let's go back. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, could you give me that address again? What is it?
Sure,
943. I
Yeah.
got it. There it is. All right. Now we're cooking. All right. Okay. Okay, 943 Venango Avenue. This is Silver Lake, 90029. 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 1,476 square feet of living space. It is active on the market, $1,195,000 list price. Small lot, 2,200 square foot lot. The open is this weekend, 9/3, Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m. It's only been on the market for 7 days. Brought to us by Jennifer Cahill and Kurt Wisner. So yeah, what do you think of this?
House is great.
Okay.
Obviously, the small lot is the biggest drawback, and with that small lot, it looks like you may not have off-street parking.
Right.
So that becomes those are your two elements to overcome. But other than that, the house is fantastic.
Yeah.
And a large house for that price point.
I was going to say, right, the footprint really is mostly house.
Yeah.
At least it's got that hedge. That helps a lot. Okay. That's a good one. Okay. What else out there?
The next one, I'm just curious to see where it's all going to end up. 2411 Ivanhoe Drive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that Spanish? I think.
It is 10,000 square foot lot.
Yeah.
On Ivanhoe. This is may end up being at the top of our list on a show in 2 to 3 weeks. As far as the seller went, because $995 is way too low.
Yeah. 2411 Ivanhoe Drive. This is Silver Lake, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,038 square feet. of living space on a, yes, 9,888 square foot lot, $995,000 list price. Open house Sunday, September 4th, 2 to 4. Days on market, 3. And let's see, this is brought to us by Nancy Sanborn and
That's
Brian
probably-
Joy.
Is that a probate sale?
Let me look.
With or without court confirmation?
Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? It's a trust sale, no court confirmation.
Got it. All right. Well, this is going to be an addition. This house will double or triple in size.
Yeah, all that wonderful space. Gosh.
In my opinion, if I was to throw one out here, I'd
Yeah.
say this may go up 400,000 or 500,000.
Yeah. This is going to be just
It's just prime location.
swarming. Yeah, really swarming on
Yeah.
the 4th. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Next, what do you have out there?
Let's look at 1225 North Avenue 45.
There it is. Hold on. There it is. So. Okay, so 1225 North Avenue 45. This is Eagle Rock. 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,008 square feet of living space on a 6,500 square foot lot for, $998,000 list price. Saturday and Sunday, open houses 2 to 4 p.m. Days on market 7 so far, and this is brought to us by Renata de Egidio.
So it's, the house it wasn't flipped, but it's very clean. It's got carpet. It's got some dated cabinets. Feels kind of long and narrow. It's not a huge house, but it has good curb appeal. It's got a 2-car detached garage. That's highly desirable for many reasons these days.
Yeah.
It's got an enormous pool, which might be the size of the house.
Yeah.
And it's well situated in a great location. I think this will sell quickly and well over list price.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I like their aerial. Did you see that, Joe?
From the front going.
No. From the drone view, how they it's the last photo. How they
Oh yeah. Hold on. There.
how the whole house
Graded
is
out.
colored. How it's colored and everything else is black and white. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that will go up as well. That's a very nice house. Okay. Next, what do you see out there?
Oh, wow. I'm just curious on this one.
Yeah.
921 Poppy Street.
Well, there are 2 listings for it. So, is one a single family? Is one a units? Let's see. So, all right. Bear with. Here we go. 921 Poppy Street. Excuse me. Highland Park. 5 beds, 4 baths, 2,736 square feet of living space. It's on an 8,400 square foot lot for $2,399,999. And let's see, open houses this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 3. And days on market just came on 1 day so far. And let's see here, Casey Winchell Napolitano and Stephen Vernette, I just met Stephen, are the seller agents. So good luck to them.
This looks like it's a duplex, a single family plus ADU.
Got it.
It's probably what it is. The ADU is very modern, very nice, situated on a high spot on the lot. So the 2,700 square feet is a combination of the two.
Yes.
Um,
Main home and full utility ADU.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice space. I think they could drop in 2 more 9s if they want to go 399, 999, and 99 cents.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all those 9s in a while, man. think most people have moved away from them. But yeah, it's high, in my opinion. It's a high price point.
So let's see here. It says upstairs you will be surprised and delighted to find the 2-bedroom modern cover built designer guest house with its own address. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not disputing that it's a nice property. It definitely
Yeah.
looks good.
Yeah.
I just think for this pocket and this location in Highland Park, that it might be pushing it on the numbers.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
We'll see.
All
All right. So next, I just want to talk about a collective grouping of showings that we'll see where they all land in a neighborhood that we find ourselves in a lot, Montecito Heights. There's, let's see, pull up 548 Montecito Drive, but there are 504, 530, and also a couple lots all for sale there.
Is this the best looking one?
It's the biggest one. I'm not sure what the expectations are yet, as far as they have them all listed individually, but they are all connected. House lot.
You know, I'm remembering this one. So, 548 Montecito Drive, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,379 square feet.
It's huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
900,000 list price. What a deal. 5,200 square foot lot. It's been 7 days on this market, and it was brought to us by, I believe, David Deanda, right? Yeah, Deanda.
Yeah.
You know, I was in pursuit of this. I met the gardeners or some handymen, and I think it was a woman, maybe it was a daughter, and they were talking of fixing it up. So you kind of see what's happening. They kind of stopped. Maybe her father passed away, or somebody passed away. And yeah, wow. So 5 altogether, eh?
Yeah, 3 houses, 2 lots. It's quite a collection. He was quite a real estate empire there on Montecito Drive.
Yeah, and really good views. I don't know if did they pick out the view here? Let's see. I don't think they did.
No.
They should have. Wow. I think all of them have good views.
Yeah, they all should. Yeah.
All right.
Well, cool.
All right. Anything else out there?
No, I do want to say congratulations to our buyers, Matt and Melissa, who just went into escrow with in Montecito Heights. Again, an area we like a lot, a great street, good active neighborhood, close proximity to a park, which so many people don't even know exists there.
Well, you know, just my observations, you know, one, they're Vancouver, or they were Vancouver based. We got them close to nature.
For sure.
I mean, that's pretty perfect for somebody from Vancouver to get that in LA.
Yeah, I think I felt like it was also good. It's a good cultural match. The dynamics of the neighborhood coming from Vancouver. You know, Northeast LA and areas we serve are very diverse and a lot of different components. And they, in their case, they weren't. The one thing about Montecito Heights is that it's not walkable. You know, I would say certainly more than 50% of the time we get. You know, it'd be nice to be able to walk to a coffee shop.
Sure.
You know, something we can walk to. And they specifically said, I don't care if I can walk to a coffee shop without us prompting it. It's like,
right.
All right. Well, so it's a good match.
This is walkable, yeah, for nature, hikeable, for all those things.
Yes.
But yeah, not to get your coffee necessarily. And the other thing, I call it lightning in bottles, but their friend who referred, thank you, Cameron and Catherine, first offer accepted. And for these guys, Matt and Melissa, first offer accepted. I don't know what the through line is on that. I didn't know if it was US. I didn't know if it was USC. I don't know if it was professors. I have no idea. But
well, I hope they don't pitch that as you know, what to expect if they refer us again. So,
exactly. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yes, for sure. But it worked out. Yes.
All right. Well, look, to be continued. We're in escrow now. We'll see how that goes. But guys, just have a great time out there. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you next week. We'll try for again Thursday, 2 p.m. Take care.
Right
Bye
there.
now.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.